You take it one day at a time and being in the present moment, that's when you continue growing in it together, hopefully together. There's another very interesting conversation that I had with a friend. She is in her 60s and she's an incredible therapist. And one thing that she said is that every relationship, everybody wants a long-term perfect relationship. And nobody realizes that they can have it all in their relationship, just not at the same time. Because when you have passion in the early stages of a relationship, you are craving for stability and you want to know that this is going to go on, but those cannot exist together. When you get stability, comes with a routine. Routine doesn't come with that first heat, like first few months, I don't know, like of the new relationship, honeymoon phase. Yeah. Then from stability, we move, and lots of people, she said that in her practice, lots of people don't move past the stage of stability. Past stability comes intimacy. So it's 3 stages: the honeymoon phase, the passion, then there's the stability, and then there's the intimacy. And intimacy is not sex. It's actually being your truest open self with the other person. And if you get through that, which many people don't, but if you get through that, then you cycle back to the passion, but you're a level up. So your honeymoon stage is deeper. Then you're going to crave stability. Your stability is going to root deeper. And then that's how you go. Just go loop by loop. And there is no time stamp on how long it takes to get through those 3 stages. It's based on individual couple themselves and people themselves as well. And for some, it may take a few years. For some, it may take a decade. For some, it may take more than that. It just depends on.
That's a really interesting way to put it. I never heard that. Yeah. It's like Russian dolls, like stacking the dolls.
Yeah. But as she said most people today quit once the honeymoon runs out. They want more stimulation, and end up, constantly dating, constantly going, constantly ending the relationships 2-3 years into it because they feel like, oh, it died. Now I need to move to a different person. It's not going to work out. Not really understanding that it didn't die. It just may need extra effort to keep that part going while you are rooting into something completely different so that it can get even deeper.
Wow.
That is super deep and amazing. I've never heard of it that way either. And I think that I actually could seriously relate. So like when I met my fiance, it was the honeymoon phase, right?
Yeah.
And I put this guard on of like, okay, how could I be like the coolest version of myself that she's going to be attracted to? And then after that honeymoon phase ran out, I was like, oh, I don't know if I want this. Like, we're starting to fight, and we broke up. And when we got back together, like there was such that strong, deep connection. And I was like, wow, it's really rare for me to be so attracted to somebody, but also have that energy and that love that, you rarely find. And when we got back together, I remember, because now we live together, I act like my true self, right? Like I don't hold anything back anymore, right? And I could be very annoying, and I could, I have all my weird quirks. And it doesn't bother her at all. And like we've gotten to that place of like, I could be myself, which is so amazing. And I think subconsciously that you just mentioned that, it's reminding me like, oh, we're getting back to that passion phase because like we're both so happy just being ourselves.
Because
that's
exactly.
amazing.
And that's probably the ultimate best relationship where you can be your genuine self with someone else. That's
And you touched on something else. You said, self-work and growth, right? Like for me, that's super important. Is like, how do you find a balance of being your true self, but also like wanting to get better and grow not only by yourself, but with somebody else, and like keep molding. Like I think molding your life with somebody else is not like a one-time thing where it's like, okay, we lived together, we molded, and that's it. It's like, okay, how do you mold together, but keep growing together and alone? And I'm curious, like how you handle that through divorce and now, post-divorce.
Well, I mean, I think whenever you go through hardship, this is when you grow the fastest. And I wish there was a different way, but there isn't. It forces you, whether you are ready or want it or don't want it, it's just going to throw you into that. My relationship with the self-growth and self-improvement has been for years. I mean, I've been trying to figure this thing out. I started discovering the self-growth thing in my 20s. And then I always was a mentality that I can just get something done and then I'm good. And I got it. I done. And then it came late with work, with age and experience, that this is constant thing and you just keep doing it. I don't know if there is one formula, to be honest, like to just, this is how you do it and this is how it's done. For me, it comes in waves. And I know that when I start getting a little bit slacking on this, I will see it backfiring, whether I'm not happy or I'm not content. I'm not in the place where I want to be. Like personally, I don't have that inner balance. So that means that I need to find ways. And there's so many ways today, especially in LA. Like there's so many ways where how you can work on yourself. When you do it with partner, I think one of the best ways is just doing something that you love together.
Yeah.
And that is something that brings you closer together. I mean, something that you share. That's where deep conversation come. I'm a big fan. Everybody on our team knows, like, I'm a fan of those like Q&A cards. I even have a Q&A question, like kind of a rundown list that has nothing to do with seemingly with work, but I run it even by clients because it helps me to profile them. I understand by what their favorite color, favorite food, and all those kind of things, what they like. But then also there hasn't been one single time where I was running these questions and one of the questions didn't expand into something bigger. And that's why I love the questions too. I think at any time, it's such a great way of growing together. There's something else that one of my friends, we were talking about, that she mentioned as a practice of just spending 5 minutes, like once a week, and just asking your partner how they are doing and just be listening without judgment, without them telling you what they want, what you want to hear, just how they are doing. Just that, how they're feeling, how they're doing, what's on their mind, what's heavy, what's light, what's happy. And I think if we could all implement that just with everyone, including like kids, whatever, but especially partners, it's incredible because you realize that there may be something that is worrying them that is so simple to fix, or maybe you didn't even realize, maybe you're playing a part in that or something. And then, then you can take it up a level, like something that annoys you or something that you love or something that just, etc. And just talk, no judgment, no, just a very free, safe zone.
That is beautiful.
Let's do it right now.